like face-to-face interaction service with the Most High.
Yeah, I get you.
All you're saying is that you haven't read the instructions on how to reach God consciousness, because it's your past incarnations and all the old souls that already did this and mastered this to help everybody that is stuck in samsara wrote, instead of religions, instructions on how to reach this step by step. And if you follow, like I've read the Yoga Sutra, I read Shiva's book, I read the Bhagavad Gita, and I've followed all these steps for years, like integrated them in my daily interaction in fact, to come to the point where everything is effortless. First, it requires you to put in a lot of effort, because you have put in a lot of effort and you still have subconscious indoctrinations and all of these things. And we need to clear those out by putting in new conscious habits and new ways of speaking, new ways of thinking. And like, this doesn't contradict each other. It's just you haven't studied the scriptures. Like,
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like I've been confused about it, where like, because like the way it felt, like I was just in work, like in my job and that, and like first I had like more relative awakenings of how like unhappy I am in this like unfulfilling work, but that's not nothing to do with fucking God consciousness. That's some other like more relative dualistic shit in time. So like what happened, I feel, and I feel like to an extent I'm recovering from, is like what, like I was just working a job, like in retail, and like I started taking loads of mushrooms, and I just lost my fucking mind. Like everything that I thought was real just got stripped away. But I couldn't. I became very ungrounded, as you fucking witnessed, um, and everyone in my life witnessed. Where like I recently I'm getting better with it now. Like I'm just finding like I'm learning to anchor myself with habits and routines and like trial and error. But like there was this period where I was I was just in fucking in work. I was just a fairly normal person. I already had done shrooms a bit, and I knew about this madness. But like I started taking loads of shrooms, and it's like the material paradigm kept coming and going, and I didn't know what was happening, because like 1 minute I'm experiencing ego death of like die before you die, and I'm literally like dead while I'm alive, and then the next day I'm back in my job thinking, how am I going to get out of it? And I'm listening to all different sorts of lectures, like about what, some of them about personal development, some of them about spirituality, and it's like it's I just mean like there is still like a grounded human life, and just like using fucking common sense to just like execute and like progress as a fucking human being. But I just got really confused, because the way Ram Dass says it is like we live on multiple different planes at the same time. Like, kind of like you say how, I could speak it as a material paradigm, and that basically becomes true. I could also speak it as a hell realm or a prison, that can become true, or as God consciousness, and it's like as you speak it, it becomes true. But I just, what's it?
but the thing with Ram Dass is not even a full-on enlightened man. He's just speaking from one side of the spectrum too. He himself says several times that he does not consider himself enlightened. Like, so, like, I've listened to a lot of Ram Dass things, basically most of his things, but I would go to his guru's teachings, not Ram Dass teachings, like Neem Karol Babaji.
Yeah, I get it. Um,
Because words can confuse you. Because once again, you just said like you can speak it into existence and be like, that makes it true, and it feels true, and it can even manifest it to be true. But is it eternally true?
yeah, I get it. It's like I know what you mean in terms of like it's the 0 point, it's the present moment, and it's like it is really like self-realization of infinity, of the dream nature of.
It's basically, you know, the Pink Floyd album with a light.
Yeah, I know.
And the prism, that's it. Like, it's not more complicated than that. It's one light, and what you're looking at is the rainbow spectrum, and the mind is the glass. Because in mind, the thoughts, there's two things, several things. Before mind, it's silence, the white light.
Yeah.
And if you look at it carefully, there's just one thing doing everything.
Yeah.
But in the rainbow, over here, you can do whatever you want. It's actually still just the one light. But in the rainbow, it looks like you're doing many things, and individuals can do things, but the rainbow can never destroy or touch the white light.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. You see, like, yeah, like...
It also makes eternity bearable. Because imagine if you just were one thing all the time, and it never changed, and you didn't experience any differences.
Yeah, I know, I get you. It's like, it's just like a... It's just a fucking like the most. It's like the. It's such a genius illusion, but it's always right in front of you the whole time, isn't it? Like, you can run around for years. It's like what you were saying about Kashi Light. Is he changed, like when he changed himself. It like he wasn't a victim in terms of like. What I mean is it's just waiting for you to recognize like yourself in everything. And then you realise that the whole time you was like self-deceiving yourself.
But also not your true self. It's just the illusion, playing with the illusion. And we are identified with the illusion. Eternity doesn't change. Silence doesn't speak.
Well, yeah, look, I understand all this, yeah, again, but then like, yeah,
But
like...
instead of understanding that those things I just said, it's about relaxing as it. Not trying to understand it at all. That's where you use the nothing to know, nowhere to go, nothing to do. And you don't try to understand it, you consciously choose to just feel that you are it, because you have an understanding that you are it.
Yeah, it's on like a being level before the mind.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
And that's the eternal truth, because it doesn't change. And then when you step into the prism and the rainbow, you can do a lot of things, because you're the creator that made the whole rainbow anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you are like, you're splitting it up and you're creating it all with your mind. Right.
But you can't fuck with the light. Like, you can't destroy the light. You can't destroy what you are. You can't say what you are. You can't explain what you are. But
Yeah.
you can do your best.
Yeah, it's just So like, yeah, like I am what you're saying. I understand. I just think like, yeah. I think It's just I did become, even though obviously it's just the white light acting in a way, but like on some planes, like I did just get like where like I didn't know. Like all of a sudden, I was listening to all sorts of different teachers of, some of them again about spirituality, some of them about personal development, some of them about both, and like it's taken me till now to like through talking to you for a long time and like going through samsara and shit. It's like I'm only slowly like where things seem to be slowing down and getting simpler, like you say, where like I'm slowly like anchoring myself in like where like my mind is maturing, but like the initial impact of the fucking becoming crazy, like you said, like you're crazy now, like I can't remember when you said it a few months ago, but it's like that will like it was beyond. It was literally like a process of just like losing the plot.
Yeah. But Traumatics lyrics and stuff, listening to that a lot doesn't help you having that awakening either, because you just become really negative
Yeah.
about the world. Like that's like why Conga has a song like "Keep It on the Low," and he talks about silence being you and everything like that. But don't talk about it. Communicate it psychically. Don't tell people too much about it because you can't explain it. Like, and conspiracies are real, but keep them on the low because they're too scary. Like. Like you don't share it with everybody, like you don't break all these boxes like Trance is doing with his lyrics. Like he's doing his job and his thing, like, but that doesn't really always help when you're waking up in this world to just focus on all the negative things, even if they're true, can really make you lose the plot and feel like everything's against you and those people are against you and I shouldn't be doing this job, when the eternal truth is that everything is heaven and everything is God, and the more you serve God, the more you will have. The more you give, the more you will have to give. The more you live from the heart and you're in the torus field of eternity, the more you put out in this torus field, the more comes back to you. So you don't even need to know that the world is evil. It doesn't even, like, it's still a truth in the rainbow, just.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's because there's multiple different levels to awakening and different facets. Like you can have more relative awakenings and more like absolute awakenings. Like
But the other, for me, isn't awakening. That's just knowledge within the realm of duality, what's happening in the world, in the impermanent world. That's not an awakening. You could call it that because many people don't know. But an awakening for me is knowing yourself. And you're like, I've listened to all of these teachers and done all of these things, but the teachers only take you so far. If you're God, if your true being is omnipresent, infinite intelligence, maybe you should listen to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I do get you.
Like, check with your silent self. Like, I'm sure it knows in your heart what you want to do and what you need to do if you relax into it.
Yeah, I know you are right. You are right. Yeah, because you always just are what is. And then like within that, you know what to do and you know how to deal. Like it's just when you become quiet, uh, everything you just simply are this like you are this like infinite, ever changing, impermanent oneness. Just this, it's like just a field, you know, and like how Illuminati Congress says, like, yeah, intuition from the field. If you listen, you will feel. And that's what I had earlier today. It's like, because like sometimes there's these two different modes. Yeah, like sometimes if I'm in the traumatic kind of paradigm, if the radio's playing, I will listen to the radio and go, oh, this indoctrination station, everyone's listening to this garbage, like, turn this shit off, man, the radio's
But
just...
when you're liberated, you can say that and laugh. Turn off this fucking indoctrination and shit. Like, you can say, you can deliver the message with a smile and a light heart instead of putting something down.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I do, I've got more like that with time, where, like, me telling everyone that everything's poison just becomes, like, a joke. Where, like, because I admit that it doesn't really matter on some levels, kind of. But, what I'm saying is, like, half the time, the radio can be playing, like, in this warehouse job or something, which I've come to conclude is actually just a school. Like, the reason I'm trapped in these jobs is to fucking evolve, kind of, in a way. Because I'm learning a lot while I'm in these, like, pain will make you grow type thing. But, like, basically, yeah, like, if the radio is playing, I can either resist the radio and judge it, like, this is Babylon radio, right? But if I actually, like, shut the fuck up and stop resisting it, the radio is actually talking to me, kind of, where it's like,
Yeah.
like if you actually listen to the lyrics, half of the lyrics are actually like your higher self talking to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you must get that a lot. Like if you're listening to the radio or something, if you actually are in, if you're actually in an awakened proper state and you're listening to the radio,
It's always magic, like low key, a little
yeah,
bit here and there.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
It's amazing, bro.
I get that so much, man. It's like,
And
cause
life is one big synchronicity. Like, look at it all.
yeah,
Like, even if you're not aware of it, everything's happening synchronistically all the time.
yeah. So Congo says if you're not present, you might miss it or something, and his song about synchronicity or something. But yeah, it's you are right about that magic thing. Is yeah, it's just like a um
Because everybody's, even when they're unconscious, they're making a song. When they make music and stuff, they're really in the moment. Like when you're creative, you're really in the moment, and soulful things come out. And like God consciousness and realizing you're the self is not like removing the individual soul. The individual soul is the self. The individual soul is the eternal image of God. Because the white light is eternal, going through the prism, and it doesn't ever turn off. So the image is just as eternal, even though it looks impermanent. So that's the final step when impermanence and eternity just goes into one thing. But in the beginning, you separate them to come home. Like to tell the difference between thoughts and your being, awareness, silence.
yeah. I mean, I get what you meant until you said to come home. Like, I mean, I get it. It's a process of like forgetting who you are, and then like the joy of like re-remembering. It's like division into unity. I don't know why I'm struggling to like. My mind seems like almost foggy. Like I need to do some fucking breath work or some shit.
But just the thing is observation. Like
Yeah.
really, really, really deeply. Like when you listen to something, when you're listening, you're not thinking.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Like that's so simple. When you listen to nature or music or anything, when you start thinking, you're missing what's happening in front of you, especially if you go deep into a thought.
Yeah. It's like you're set. Like you're one thought away from the action. They say. But yeah, like what I was gonna say, I think is about like the music. Is yeah, like whoever's making the song, like ultimately, obviously, it's all coming from the white light. So like, it's only the self talking to the self. So it all comes from source in a way. And the way that I picture like, because like music is infinite, isn't there? There's infinite songs forever. And just going back to the fucking synchronistic thing is like if you just played like a random playlist and you just listened to it, you'd get the kind of the synchronistic things where it's like it's almost like, well, Congo says in his song Eternal Life, what was it? That woman on the feature says like sound is the soul's preservation or something, where it's like you can, if you listen to just like 100 hours of songs that you've never heard from a random playlist, it will like speak to you if you listen. And it like, and like I had like a fucking experience where like this random song come on the car on the way home, and I swear it was so accurate. It was talking like to me, because like when I was at work today, I was really happy and like I was somewhat awakened, and then it all shut down again, and then it all opened up again, and I'm like, nothing's even changed. Like I'm in the same place, and the song was called Waves, and it was like it comes in waves, and I was just like, it was weird because I literally felt like I was getting spoken to like directly in a way.
Can you discriminate between what the waves are? Because that's samsara. Like if you're gonna be like what Buddha said, the waves and the coming and going is samsara. So that it is fluctuating and you're identifying it is samsara. And blowing out duality and stepping out is nirvana. Because now it's no coming and going. Here you are.
Yeah,
Always been here.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
it's just stepping off the wheel of change for a moment. Like you can go back and play for eternity and all the eons in the future, just like and all the time. Like a liberated soul doesn't stop coming to samsara. Like
Yeah. I remember you saying that. Yeah, it's I know what you mean. It's like because obviously nothing can exist that isn't held within consciousness, and anyone can understand that if you just fucking even just think about that. Like thinking is semi-valid. Like it can like because there's forms of yoga where you can like think your way into like breaking your mind, which is basically what I fucking did by accident. Like I just overthought until I just collapsed everything. But it's like yeah, like just the thought, you know, nothing can exist that isn't held within awareness, and just grasping that, and then like intuitively feeling the truth in that. That is the self, recognizing the self, and that the more you realize that, that would be deeper and deeper self-realization. 2 secs. What was I gonna say? Um, yeah. So why I was so fucking like confused in that like is because like I'd take mushrooms. One trip I would realize that like I was never alive and that I'm basically already dead. So then I would be in like some enlightened thing, right? The next trip I would like have like a mystical vision of a story like the angels are coming and they're here to tell me that like there's a plot twist and half of the humans on earth are fucking like robot nanotech, and then the next trip would be it's like half of the trips were dualistic and half of the trips were absolute, and I was getting so confused.
There's still projections of the mind. Like half of the trips you're explaining still contain thoughts. In a complete ego death, there's just silence left.
Hmm.
Like you're not even aware that you're aware. Like it's just every place at once, everywhere, all the time, and it's not even a thing that could think about it. Like it just is. Your full crucifixion, like bam, it's dying. Like most people freak out before or grab mind things. They could like think people are killing them, become paranoid, like throw any mind attack and like grab it and hold on to an identity while they're dissolving. Like, but if you dissolve, like you're not even there anymore. Like, and trying to be there means you're experiencing every suffering and every joy and everything everywhere at once, and it feels like you're getting stabbed everywhere and people are punching you and you're flying through realms. Like, but if you let go, you're the eternal eye watching itself everywhere blissfully, eternity. Like,
Yeah, because that's some of the like one of them really bad trips I had when I was younger. Is I was just resisting it the whole time, and I just got like torn apart by demons. Give me 2 seconds, literally. 1 sec, sorry. What are you doing? Are you here, Mum? Come on. You coming in here? Where'd you get this from, eh? Sure. Yo, yo. Um. Yeah, overall I'm with you, innit? So, like, that's the thing, is like, because for ages I was speaking spirituality versus personal development as if they contradicted. But it was really like it was like my own confusion to an extent. They do kind of contradict, because, like,
the final realization where every paradox becomes one contradicts everything. But all the steps prior to samadhi, final oneness, self-realization, to get to there, don't contradict self-development. They are character development. It's literally yoga, like mastering your body, mastering your health, mastering the way you act, mastering the way you speak, mastering the way you think, mastering your concentration.
yeah. Oh yeah, I get it. But this thing that the reason why I say it almost feels like it contradicts, and because like because when people say there's nothing to do and it's just the golden present moment, it makes it feel almost like there is stuff to do in a way. There's nothing to do, so get on with it. Like
Yeah,
that.
basically. It's not nothing to do in a theory sense, where it's like, oh, there's nothing to do now. Like, it's literally doing everything 100% in the moment so much that there's not a separate doer to the moment itself.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's it. I never find like sometimes I feel like I don't agree with you, but like I don't know. Overall, like obviously I can't disagree with you because you do speak truth.
You can disagree all you want. I'm just pointing to a place we both can discuss this and experience it. Maybe you're having a different experience, but in my experience, it's always right here under our noses, and it's very, very effortless when we let it be that. Like, all the complexity comes from mind and thinking and past and future and those things. The moment is usually quite simple.
Yeah, but yeah, I get you. It's just, like a lot of this thinking just like I just ended up like quantum leaping and shit and like completely shattering the illusion. But I really because I got so like deep into the God consciousness and the timeless present moment and shit like that, like I neglected like the plane of survival, where like I understand all that you're saying, but it's like what?
I know you did that. Like, you did neglect. You went a little bit cuckoo. Like, when I had my first ego death and God realization, first of all, I thought I had the psychosis for 2 months. Like, I also was a normal person and an atheist and whatever. Like, in the Matrix, doing my business, and all of a sudden I'm God. And then when you come down, you're not God. Like, it's a big surprise. Like, and the conditioning comes back. And I thought I was crazy for like 2 months. But
Yeah,
then I started reading scriptures. Like, I started reading like the Bible and Yoga Sutra and stuff, and it was like, which people before me experienced that they were God? And it's like every prophet known to mankind.
yeah, I get you.
And then I just started studying these things while, like, I studied the steps of yoga, studied like the common rule of all religion, like the golden rule, and started practicing these things. And continued on ego deaths, like while I was reading, or like the day after when I just had the ego death, opened the books, and it was like so much more meaning. Like, I followed presence. Like, I did everything in my power to study and learn about what I was experiencing. Like,
Yeah,
and now I can confidently and like 100% truthfully say that my life, even if there's ups and downs, like in the mind or something, my life is very effortless. Like, I see God in all moments, and it's like I always give myself the best, always tell the truth. I always want to help. I just share myself with myself effortlessly. Like, I love myself everywhere.
yeah, I get you. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I'm with you, man. I just think I just cause I'd go into God awakening, yeah, and then I'd come down into my poverty in Babylon, and that's what was
I was
fucking with me.
thinking like I had 10 kilos of hash at home and like 100 grams of cocaine, like some benzo pills and 100 tabs of acid. Like, that, I was like, oh shit! Like, I'm God selling drugs over here. Like, I was like, okay, let the infinite intelligence guide this. All of a sudden, I finished selling my coke, sold all my hash. I had like 20,000 euros, bought a caravan and a car, and brought all my close friends. And I was like, let's go to the mountains and practice yoga.
But it wasn't like a flick of a switch for me. Like I know you said to an extent it almost was for you, but like I kept going in and out of it. Where like I'd take loads of shrooms or something and have some like next level fucking whatever, and then I'd like go back to my job where everyone's telling me to get the fucking COVID jab, otherwise I'm a cunt, and I'm like, so like I don't know, it just like literally like tore my mind to pieces where like I just didn't know what was real.
But I feel like it wouldn't have happened any other way. If it happened any other way, you wouldn't be convinced of what it is. Like, you have to break your mind. You have to check all this stuff. Like, you just don't look at it as a negative thing if it actually brought you to the present moment. You know, the best thing you could ever do with your life, because it's the golden ticket to everything.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to look back and sit and study my behavior through my journey of my first videos, I was very unstable and hectic and this and that in the beginning when I was having my ego deaths and stuff. You ranting, screaming, doing this. But for me now, when I look back, it's the beauty of it all. Like, that's the whole trip. Like, the journey was the reward the whole time. Like,
Yeah, I get it. I see that when I look at my old videos and that, like when I'm in the flat, when I first started speaking to you and stuff. It is it's like often people fail to recognize the like the grace in the moment, but nostalgia is you can often feel the grace with the nostalgia. Yeah, I get you, man. I don't know how I got so confused for so long. Like, I know what you mean. It's at the end of the day. It's yeah, like it's just yeah. I know what you mean. You're speaking really, ultimately, kind of, somewhat the eternal truth. And it's the kind of the conventional classic awakening of like Buddha mind and things of like everything has this like there's this solidity to sense perception, and you always are that and you'll always be with that, and like that is ultimately like the main ground, the main anchor is just what is, and that is obviously like the main teaching. But but then yeah, it's just also like yeah, I think what it is just really like I was just because obviously personal development is still valid, and like right now I'm getting a lot more practical where like I'm getting to work on a lot more things. I'm looking into like business, and like I really want to create something good and meaningful in this incarnation. The way I see it is like when I'm listening to Illuminati Congo, when I'm speaking to you, when I'm listening to Traumatic, I am listening to Traumatic as if that was me in a previous incarnation, and now what I'm doing is what I've been calling Operation Bodhisattva, and that is essentially just like if I was traumatic in a past life and then I woke up, I then devote myself to leaving a breadcrumb trail for my potential future incarnations, and like that requires consistent execution and things. But that's what I'm getting on now. Is like I'm want to create and solidify like books and writings and stuff. Even though there's no fucking point, kind of in a way. But like in a future incarnation, I could be listening to my own podcast and following my own breadcrumbs, and that's what I'm talking to you right now because we're the same person.
say you're stupid because you didn't read your old books you wrote. You didn't read all the books and instructions you wrote for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're confused because you were listening to the mind instead of someone who wrote it from pure consciousness observation, or you in the past.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, but like the thing you're talking about, you also got to remember that it's not about stopping to use the mind. It's about to make the mind your best friend, like an extension, an instrument that you
Yeah.
play, really, and it doesn't play you. Like you are aware what you are, so the mind can never tell you what to do or force you to be a slave to it.
Yeah, I get you.
And then, when you're in that state, most of the time, and you're just observing life, you become super intelligent from a state of not knowing anything almost. Like, you're like a kid, just looking at life, like, just in amazement. And things happen that just, like, make you understand from interactions with life how it works. Like, it goes like, aha. instead of like constantly overthinking things. Like, how does this work? Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
main all of these things were made from observation of like, as within, so without, as above, so below. Like, but looking at life itself while it's happening. The lens of infinite intelligence.
I get you.
It's the same, like if you read Robert Moore's book, like the alkaline book I have, like the Source Miracle Detox book, he spends like one chapter on spirituality, and it's all about stepping out of the mind into observation and being able to do that. Like,
Yeah, I know he does talk quite a bit about spirituality and that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's about it's waking up, like, because I experience this a lot in terms, like, especially like maybe when I'm at work, I can have a particular vibration in samsara for like 5 hours, and as soon as I start like reflecting my own awareness like back on itself, so to speak, and I start channeling my thoughts, I can radically change like my experience within like no time. Like, I just have to like use the momentum of my thoughts to like alter my awareness. Yeah, look, I get all this. Yeah. Um.
but it's also like what you just said. If you like read like Buddha's teachings or the Yoga Sutra, is that the only thing you ever need to do to stop the mind is to take your attention away from it, because the mind only keeps going with your attention there. So what you said,
Yeah.
turn your awareness on awareness, like, so then thoughts are self-liberating, it's called. So they come and go by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like disidentification with the thoughts. That's what my mate said to me recently. Like, he said, like, I can't remember exactly, but he's saying that like it helps him to not identify with the mind and to keep his heart open in the moment.
Yeah.
And that is a big, like, a main thing for me, is like living from the heart. I'm still learning a lot, definitely recently. Like, I thought what it is like I've thought many times that I've got it, but there's always like more that comes. Like,
The thing is, like, if in the teachings of yoga it says if you think you got it, you don't have it.
yeah, yeah,
But as soon as you feel that you just are it, and even me saying that is kind of like a bad hint, because it's always. So it's not just that, but
yeah.
that realization itself is the golden gem, like.
Oh yeah,
Not
I
the
just
thought.
I've there's a few things that I want, like a couple points that I want to get to. Is that one thing is like I think there are like literally basically like, because what you're talking, it makes it almost sound like there's one dimension to awakening, and that is realizing beyond all duality that everything's the self. And you're right, that is kind of the rock bottom, so to speak. But also, I think there's like infinite awakenings where
Yeah,
like,
for sure. But is it eternal? Like, is it eternally unchanging true?
I know what you mean. It's like behind all form is just basically the same thing, and that is like the pinnacle. It's almost like there's one overriding awakening, and that is like basically the 0 point. But like, there's more to it. Like, it's, and I know you're not a super fan of Leo Gura, and neither am I to an extent. But like, he says like some of these Buddhists and that are like fucking like semi stupid, and I can't help but to agree in terms of like there's more to it than just quieting the mind. And I know that you know that.
But if you stop there,
Hmm.
if you stop at just the quiet mind, and you're like, this is it. And you're like, this is it. Like, but in reality, you are always that in every interaction, through thinking, through speaking. It's always there. It doesn't need you to do anything. It's always there. It's unconditionally there. So do you need to do or perform anything to be that? No. But remembering that gives you the freedom to not be a slave to your senses and be the author of your life, or to flow just with God. Like, it gives you the freedom to return to the thing that created everything, so you understand how everything works. It doesn't make you worse at life. That's where I agree with you. The people that get stuck that like it's just awareness and fuck the dualities and all of that. Like they get stuck and they get dumber. They become like monks and they only do this and they don't learn anything more about life. But
Yeah.
the biggest teacher of life is life itself.
Yeah.
While you're in the middle of everything and all the things happening everywhere, that is it. But like, you don't need to stop just because you remember how it works. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
like,
That's how I was interpreting it a bit, like in the beginning at least. But like, I know that you are like very on the health, like, 'cause, like it's not like you're just saying, just quiet the mind. Like you're reading like Dr. Robert Morse's books and shit like that. So
that's what I mean. That's biochemistry in the relative plane too. Like he has whole like
yeah,
actual science how the cells work. You have to like read. It's 400 pages of biochemistry. Like it took me a while to read it. Like it's
yeah,
fucking like advanced shit. Like and he made all that. He's dedicated it all to God in the present moment through pure awareness, teaching him what the original man diet is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Like, it's like you can like semi care about the relative plane, but it doesn't actually really matter. Like ultimately, kind of like it's like the form is. Hmm?
To keep your your heart light. I mean, like in the sense of that you want when you treat life bad on the relative plane, you get a heavy heart, you get a bad conscience, and all of these things, and that is getting deeper into samsara, having to replay these echoes of consciousness that you're creating unconsciously when you die, and you haven't figured this out. Like, so there is a, like, but it's not like if samsara was forever, then we would be like, okay, it's fucked. Like, in the sense where you can never ever get out. Like, you can get out because it's impermanence. You're just an eternal being playing in impermanence. So you can only get stuck in time for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's like you only go into it knowing that you will eventually come out, and that's why you do it because you know that you can bear it, and on some levels, kind of it makes you stronger. Like it's almost like when I go through hard times, I remember this quote of something like God knows that you can handle it, and that's almost like why you can go like because you can stomach like everything like the soul can because the soul is moving through yeah the soul just moves through the form and
it can't be changed. Like the material, the things here in impermanence can't touch the soul, the white light, whatever you want to call it.
yeah um yeah it's a
if you want to do nothing with that, that's also freedom. Like Ramana Maharshi, he just stayed in silence. Like I
yeah
promise you, he was having a very blissful experience. Like he was probably in astral planes at the same time. He was cruising, like barely here. Like
yeah he got fucking like cancer or something in the end, didn't he? Like
he was already home. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm um like that's what I think like Leo Gura's referring to as like it's not stupid because it isn't because if you were Ramana Maharshi like in a way you'd you know there's no such thing as like a full huh
maybe he had like 100 lifetimes where he fought to get to that state, to get out of samsara, and finally he was free, and he didn't need to carry.
yeah
He was
yeah
in his eternal self.
yeah it's just it's still like for me it's about just being like holistic and like where like you say moving from stillness and I feel like I know the stillness and the kind of the truth of God's love but from that yeah but from there like I still care to take good action of course and so do you and then again like you know like
Ramana Maharshi would never take a bad action. Like Ramana Maharshi would never hurt life. He was a vegetarian. He didn't ever hurt an animal. He saw all life as God and didn't hurt anything.
yeah I get you because like obviously you're ultimately obviously just hurting yourself in a way but like say like you say like I writ the fucking Tao Te Ching in a past incarnation or even though technically I'm like and I'm pretty confident that's almost like obviously I'm just imagining that but there's no difference between like imagination and reality so like like what I feel is yeah, dharma is a good word for it. Is like I say, like now, like me and you, and that's what we've done with our podcast and that a bit. Is like we're now writing our own Tao teachings, and I imagine you will likely write some form of fucking scripture or book in yourself, and you would be passionate to do so. And then I don't know, it's just so when you get it, like overall, it's just intuition, isn't it? Like when you get it, it's just like you almost like it just gets clearer and clearer.
To be say in almost a cocky level, you become God's omnipresence. Your natural response becomes God's omnipresence.
Yeah, yeah. Everything just becomes like a joke, kind of. But like,
A play is a good, like, it's like a movie, like.
yeah. But yeah, so one thing is so I get you. There's a reason why I'm getting more practical in that these days is because I was getting all confused when we're talking about Ramana Maharshi and just not doing anything ever again, or like not moving and sitting in a cave. It's like I was confusing myself. This is not what you were implying, but basically, so I understand what you're saying, and ultimately I'll move from stillness. But on the relative plane, yeah, my human life is fucking shit, and I need to sort my fucking shit out. Cause so it isn't, and I'm grateful. And obviously, you can only move from the place of stillness of it, like to actually, because most people are out here trying to execute left, right, and center, but they're just like failing in a way. Like
But imagine if you started relaxing into this observation consciousness where your natural response is all seeing, all knowing, omnipresent consciousness. Wouldn't your life naturally just get better the more you move from it?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like I was subconsciously resisting that the whole time. Like Congo says, the hurt that persists is just love we resist. And it's things like that where I think about that, and then I just shut the fuck up, and then it opens up, and I feel the truth in that. But there is like a because like
I think the best practice you can do is to take up the steps of yoga and read them and practice the first three very well. The first three steps of yoga is basically constantly speaking kind words to everybody, constantly thinking good of everybody, and not hurting anyone in word, thought, or deed, and not stealing, and no non-violence, so eating no meat, and being truthful.
But
This is the first steps of yoga.
Say about stealing, yeah, like because of like my mental crash and I lost my job and shit like that, like and I got into a that's why I held up these 5p's is because like this is 5p coins is basically my fucking net worth. It's like when you say no stealing, like so can I not take something from Tesco if I'm like literally got no food?
You can, but if you do, you're telling life that you are taking and God is not providing.
I hate doing it.
You're going against the law of creation. The law of creation means the more you give, the more you have to give. So that if you instead of go stealing something, would go walk around, enjoy life, maybe help someone carrying some heavy bags or something. It's like exist in the present moment and try to be of service, bring a smile to someone. That will bring you into a situation that will feed you. Because God provides everything for everyone all the time. It's just if we're open to it or not. So we can shut it off and go the opposite direction.
It's almost like in terms of the stealing, it's what I've noticed, and it's hard to articulate, but the more you take, the less you have, and the less you give, the less you have. How weird is that? That's true. It's like huh?
The infinite loop, like we all have an infinite amount. Like if we're with the mathematics of the mathematical laws of nature. The more you give, the more you have to give. Like nature constantly gives of itself. It's like a mathematical creation. That's why we have the fractals and the geometry and all the things like.
There is definitely an intuition to it where like you recognize like love would be the greatest gift to consciousness, and you just intuitively you feel on a level of being that you know that there's an intelligence to it. Like they say, like, what is it? I don't know. Like Alan Watts says, like, you know, like nature is so intelligent, it would be foolish to think that consciousness itself, like, isn't intelligent. Where like we come out of an intelligent environment. So like, I don't know. What is it? I don't know.
But about stealing also, like I used to steal when I was waking up a lot,
Mm.
and I was still being a bit of a gangster criminal, like doing my thing. I was like even more like fuck the Babylon, listening to Traumatic, like stealing all the ecological shit and the expensive honeys and stuff. But I had really expensive like podcast equipment with me for like 3,000 euro and like things in my caravan, and a really expensive laptop for like 2,000 euro. And the more I kept taking from shops and everything like that, the more things kept disappearing in my life all the time. Like things were taken from me, like things kept stolen, I lost something. And then one day I came home to Sweden and I was on YouTube and a video comes up recommended and it's like 30 minutes, a blonde lady, I don't remember her name, like some super spirit lady, I don't remember her name. She's a little bit famous. And I clicked it and it's like 30 minutes about that everything you do to life is done unto you. And you will notice this law if you watch this video, and she goes through like 30 minutes of explaining the law of that giving is receiving, and the law of like cause and effect, and that life is a mirror, and consciousness works mirror-like effects. And once you realize this, all these mysterious of things getting lost and you losing your phone or dropping your phone will all stop when you stop stealing from life. And when I stopped, I haven't lost anything since.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do recognize that. Like, it's like I'm pretty sure Congo says in one song, like, if you don't work, you don't eat. To an extent, and like if you stop giving to life, then you'll stop receiving from life. And I've no, yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like hard to articulate and a bit paradoxical, but yeah, it's like obviously I've had to steal more because I have less, but it's like the more I steal, the less I have, almost like, but they're creating each other in like some strange loop way. But like, yeah, it's like the more like
That's why you can't put out fire with fire. You can't put out fire with fire. You need the opposite element. So you need water to put out fire. So for movement and greediness and lust and constant like desire, you need the opposite. You need like calmness and peace and presence, right? And presence will feed you. When we realize that presence and peace and love is God, like, then it's all around us all the time.
yeah, yeah. So you don't need nearly as much as you like fool yourself that you do as well. Like, there's a lot of leeway. Like the body is a lot stronger than the mind will like to get you to believe in a way. I see this. Who is it?
But all the way you just said that the mind likes you to believe, that's also still a limited way, because if you start speaking as if your mind is your best friend and your mind believes what you want to believe, like you can transform your mind to just be an instrument. Like that is the final liberation stage where your mind is not against you anymore. Like imagine your mind is a flute you're playing. The flute can't play you. Like you're the one blowing life into the flute, making the music. But somewhere along this illusion of duality, we make ourselves think that this flute can make us do stuff. So the flute's like start getting used to playing this way, and it forms a habit. And after a while, when we stop doing that habit, the flute goes like, you gotta play this, you gotta play this, you gotta play this. And that's when it seems the mind against you. But once you liberated yourself from freeing, like, I don't need to believe my mind, like.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like yeah, it's like you're unconsciously playing the flute, and then you're just buying into whatever you're dreaming, but like you're actually doing it yourself, but you're not actually aware of how you're doing it. So like you're like unconsciously like spinning these stories and then just buying into them, but like you are the one that's kind of blowing the flute. I do get it. It is such like almost like a double bind where like obviously, cause I don't know, it's like a, yeah, like today when I said that it comes in waves, like that, like half of the day I felt like a victim and half of the day I felt like I was on top of it. um
But it's still within a thought of duality. Like otherwise, what you would talk about being on top of it is just to be.
yeah, yeah, I know.
And it's not coming or going. Like it always is.
Yeah, yeah, I do get you. um
That is the realization that you really want to ground. And then if you really inspect it, you never come and go. That's just the illusion of thought. That's just a thought construct that comes and goes. You can perceive that from an unchanging point the whole time.
yeah, yeah, so yeah, what I was going to say about the, when you were saying about the flute and like the uh we being the one like blowing into the flute, is the way that I see it is like somewhat like, not that I have regrets, kind of, because I there aren't really any mistakes, but like what I mean is like I don't, like I lived like 16 years completely unconscious, like.
Yeah, but I lived 20 years completely unconscious.
Is that before you had your first initial boom, was it?
Acid trip.
Yeah. But like to me, like that, like how, like, and ultimately it just comes to like consciousness recognizing itself, but it's like for 20 years or 16 years, like, and like,
But for it was like I saw the trace of the reality that's been hinting at it all the time, and it's actually what has been happening the whole time. Like it's not anything different. Like it's just a different lens of perception. Like,
yeah, yeah, because it's kind of relevant, but like the way that I feel almost like it's like I just look around at like my life and the people in it and everything I've got used to, and it's like, when did this all come to be, and like how, like I'm so used to it, like I'm so familiar with everything in my life, but it feels like I've only just got here. Like, or like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know if that was exactly relevant, but it's just it's like I can't believe that I was living for that long, because it feels like I've only just woke up, and like, and everything's like still familiar to me, but it's like it all feels so new because it's like I didn't even see it before, in a way.
that's fucking life. Like before we were in the mind mostly. Like you didn't actually experience life from conditioning. We used to experience our conditioning preceding the fucking reality. Like observing reality as it is a completely different story and has a lot of power, a lot of surrender, and a lot of infinite possibility or total relaxation and chilling. Like it's completely different lens, but it's actually what's happening all the time. Like I saw it so clear when I had my acid trip. Like I had a cross, upside down cross here, and a normal cross here. And I started making an arm with a fallen angel when I was like high on pills, doing drugs all the time. Like I made this evil arm with tattoos with demons on it and
Yeah.
stuff. And when I woke up and saw that I had the opposite of the crosses here, and that this was my evil arm, and I was like, I saw how my soul has been doing this the whole time, like hinting all the things for me for have the moment when like here it is, everything connects, like, and it was like so obvious that I'm gonna make my other arm like God with a third
Yeah,
eye.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, that's
and
quite, that's cool. I didn't know that.
it was like I just saw the what you said, like breadcrumb trail I put for myself my whole life.
Yeah, I do get you. Yeah, it's like as above, so below, where like a lot of like the plots of the old TV shows I used to watch are like almost like extended into like, I see as above, so below with the things I used to watch. And in terms of you talking about like the devil and the arm of the bad and then the arm of the good, is like that's to an extent what happened to me. Like when I was 16, like before I started taking mushrooms, I made, or I tried to make an album and I called it toxic. And I'm just throwing words around and horrible affirmations unconsciously, and then like as I wake up, what I'm in the process of making, or I've made like a shit version of it, is something called detox. So it's like the duality of almost the same with your arms. It's like, yeah, like when I was less conscious, I made something called toxic, and then as I'm waking up, I'm making a new one called detox, and it's like the other side of it. And it does just feel like a gift in the end. Like when you actually wake up and like you just count your blessings and that, it's like you don't want to be anyone else. You're so like excited for the adventure, kind of.
Yeah, you're the fucking image of God, like you're the image of the eternal light, like you're that, you're it, like you're here to
Yeah.
dream the fucking best adventure you can.
But that, see,
Especially if you're liberated, like otherwise you can be in samsara for a long time. You can like it's not to talk with everybody, like, but if you don't understand, like if you don't remember, in my experience, like once you remember who you are, you can get to an eternal realm. And when you remember when you come and go from this realm, you don't bind yourself in the illusion and you go. Unconscious souls, that it's not even that they're unconscious, we decided to go play in the illusion. And when we play in the illusion, people can be a really long time in the illusion. Like a long, long, long time.
yeah,
Even for cycles, long cycles, and they keep coming back to the dark ages or some other realm and like get stuck in it. And that's why, for me, in my experience, like that's what's happening now. A lot of liberated souls are coming to the planet, like, and we're having the awakening that we're having. But the truth is, even like when people speak about like reptiles and people controlling us from like other realities and draconians or whatever, that's just still on an impermanent level.
yeah. It's all,
In
it's
the
yeah,
eternal truth, all of these things, all of these infinite realities are made in the image of God. Like,
yeah. It's all just like the white light type thing. But like with the knowledge of the white light, you know that anything's possible. And it kind of stems into like how Traumatic's waiting for the Phoenix event. It's like, yeah, that could, consciousness could dream that, obviously, but like it's already here in, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you can live from the wish fulfilled kind of, it's already here.
but it also depends, like you can also feel like you're manifesting things purely from your own will, or you can have a realization that God is actually the doer of all things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like where do your decisions come from, type thing. It's all like, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Is the other day I was thinking that is because obviously, yeah, it was such a strange. I have these all day, all the time, and it can make like my work life difficult because I'm literally like going in and out of fucking enlightenment and shit like all day. But I was thinking like when I was at work yesterday, I was like, right, I'm always gonna be with what is, or I always am what is, right? So there's always kind of form, even though you can like, there's always images on the screen somewhat, unless you go into fucking Maha Samadhi or whatever the fuck. Right. So when I say reality is luring me, grateful for the mystery, like, um, obviously I know that I am one with what is, but also it feels like it's like I'm awareness and observation, and it's like the images are like pulling me forward forever. And that's like Alan Watts says, like God escapes his own grasp in the same way that you can't grip your own hand, or like you can't bite your own jaw. It's like, I feel almost separate, like infinity is like growing forever and it's taking me with it, but I am it. And who's in control? That's what I'm saying. It's like it seems like this out of control, like I'm not doing it, it's doing itself, spontaneous, it happens by itself, and I am it and I'm going with it.
But we can destroy that flow too, because in the rainbow we have freedom. We can tense up our bodies. We can get scared. We can use our free wills to do all these things, but we cannot do anything to affect the white light. We can only do things within impermanent. You cannot like
Yeah,
go
yeah.
with impermanent, stab the white light like.
I get you.
And with that, like what you're talking about, like one of the highest states that many yogis and people describe and saints live in this too, and I practice and I have songs about too, is the art of relaxation. So that all of life is actually in a constant state of relaxation. And when you're in relaxation, you're in like wu wei, doing, non-doing. Like you're spontaneously happening with life all the time.
Yeah.
But you can have your mind and all your things and make stagnation in your energy and get stressed and make all these things and get tense. And not being that effortless flow of being what also is like with the Tao or God's will or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Leo Gura speaks of it in terms of free will. He says like the ego is like it's like he uses the analogy of a hummingbird in a hurricane. So like that you can move a bit as the small self, but ultimately the hurricane is taking you.
Yeah, but in one sense, if you still like have some sense of separation from it.
Yeah, I know.
Otherwise, you can do anything.
But it's like the question is, and Ramdas says this, and it dovetails with everything that I said a second ago. It's like who or what is in control in terms of like it seems like like it escapes its own grasp in terms of like it like it's doing it, but you don't think I'm gonna do this as the white light and then it happens. Like I'm sure that can happen in some, but it's like the way that it is now is like it's like this like infinite ungraspable thing is unfolding forever, and like it's constantly going out, growing, and like kind of, and but like no one's doing it. It's like literally like that. Who's in control is the question.
Once again, you gotta get to the contradiction and paradox part. It's like you gotta be able to hold the opposite concept equally as true if you're really gonna be union with everything and everything is one. That would mean that just as you're not in control of anything at all, it's just the white light doing it and everything's happening, you're also in total full control over your life here and now of everything, of what you think, say, and feel.
I get you. Yeah, because that's the fucking almost the clash of when I say survival versus spirituality. Is like we say, oh, your thoughts are creating reality, but people think that reality is objective. Like I need to make money because this is my situation. But that's how it seems, because that's what the form is like fooling you into. But like actually, you are creating it with your thoughts. It's just like a grand illusion. It's really hard to articulate, but like you are creating your life with your thoughts, consciously or
And
not.
your words also, like what you repeat and what you think about, you speak about. And then what you repeat and think about ultimately becomes what you feel, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you think you become was one of the things Buddha said, and also the Yoga Sutra says.
And what's his name? He's quite good. I can't remember. Uh, some. Do you know Earl Nightingale or some shit? No.
I reckon a little.
He says the same thing. You become what you think about. I don't know.
Then also when we're talking about these paradoxes, it's like which side is more real, the white light or the rainbow? Like ultimately, they're both shining there forever because the light doesn't ever turn off.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of realization, the final realization of Buddha's like Heart Sutra, like form is formlessness. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm totally with. It's mad how like it's all kind of self-inflicted like that. even though you can feel like a victim. Yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, I was just confused with it for ages. I feel I'm only just, if anything, I feel like taking a break from the psychedelics actually fucking helped me. I ain't done them for. I lost my job, therefore I stopped taking them.
Like
Huh?
you already saw it at least. Like you had the experience. Like you needed to integrate.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. Is like it feels it like it. It's almost like because I was doing them like every 2 weeks for like 2 years. Then like it was well, like now I ain't done them for like 8 months because I just can't really afford it. And I have become I've become more anchored because I would take them and then I go, oh my god, reptilians, and like that's not helping me. Like it was cool, but it's like I just dream like some plot twist, and like it wasn't helping my survival. So like I'm with you. I feel like this. I feel like finally I'm fucking actually getting somewhere, kind of. But what I mean, yeah, I was just confused for a long fucking time. And it was clashing with my human life. Like it's like what happened with Connor Murphy. When Connor Murphy woke up, he stopped caring about his diet. His house become a fucking mess. Like
Amazing. I thought he was a fucking genius. Like he still is. He still makes. Have you seen his like latest channel where he had like Kenosis?
yeah, I have. I don't.
He's fucking genius. Like
Yeah,
even though he did spiral off and lose it a little bit. Like he even admits that. But
yeah.
it's
So did
still
I.
fucking like infinite intelligence. Like he really manifested things. Like could thought things through. Like really made like his imagination into like a whole thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, one thing with his channel Conosis, yeah, I was watching it. I deciphered one of his passwords myself, fucking, and then I found a private video, which I shared on Facebook, and a few other people had already found it, because he set up like this whole fucking like. But that's the thing. It's like my survival situation was detrimental, and I was busy trying to decipher Connor Murphy's fucking thing. But like, there's a few things I want to say. Like one, like I don't know, I like Connor Murphy, like his new channel, like he seemed like he seemed kind of crazy to me. Still, I'm on the fence. But then what I thought and what I was thinking today is like, um, it's like if I was in some radical state on mushrooms of like self-realization, I reckon I could probably watch Connor Murphy and get the synchronicities. But like when I was watching him originally, like I don't know, I was trying to figure it out. It seemed like he did admit he lost the plot a bit. Have you seen his video, his phone call of Connor Murphy with Leo Gura?
Yeah, like Leo Gura is just telling him to chill out and relax and that he's from this other dimension. And like Lyrians or whatever, cat race, whatever the fuck he's talking about.
What was that last bit?
He was talking about that he saw that he's some higher dimensional being on ayahuasca, like that he's from another dimension and stuff. And Leo Gura was just like, no, like, and told him to relax. And he said he's God, and he said yes, but no, and like told him he was going crazy. Like I don't remember exactly; it was a long time ago.
But that's the feeling, like, because I resonate with Leo to an extent. Like Connor wasn't wrong.
Jag pratar i telefon, vad vill du? Vad vill du? Ja, men jag kommer och hämtar det. What were you saying about Leo Gura?
Like, yeah, so like Connor wasn't wrong to an extent, but like that's what psychedelics will do. They will just split the dream into pieces. And Leo was just trying to warn Connor that like he does have a life on the relative plane, and that's what happened to me. It's like I was having these awakenings and these madness experiences and that, and like it's like I just I went so kind of deep, or so I thought, kind of like I was going in and out of God consciousness, and like the relative plane or the so-called material plane was like crumbling because I was literally quantum leaping so much that I didn't have an anchor, and then I got kicked out of my flat 3 fucking times, and I'm pretty sure that's why I lost my job recently to an extent, is because my boss knew about my social media and that. And I had one trip and I thought everyone's a robot, and I was thinking, how am I going to go back to work if half of the population are fucking robots? And then Monday I'm back at work and I'm doing mushrooms every weekend, and then I get sacked because I don't know what's real, and I don't know what to think. Like, 1 minute I'm literally in the astral realms, meeting fucking reptilians, and next minute I'm fucking in a warehouse. And and my survival life as a human, I lost anything to I lost an anchor, and like good habits to me now, goals are the anchor.
If you're gonna do that amount of psychedelics, you gotta do it away from society, like in nature.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But I wasn't anchored in anything. Like, I didn't have any habits or discipline, like, at all. Like, I literally just went completely loose and just basically did whatever I wanted immediately. And that's why it fucking, because like I was also struggling to discipline myself. So like it was a mix of things. Like I was struggling to just execute on personal development. Um, so ultimately it was really my own fucking fault, because, and that's what it is for most people. Like most people get what they give. Like when you see people who are like fucking 50 odd years old and they've got nothing and they're like still running around getting girlfriends left, right, and center, like it's their own fault for not fucking being still. Like everyone's creating their own victim mentality and then like buying into it. But all you need to do is just be still and like realize, and then you can move from that and fix your life. But like most people don't understand that they're creating their own victimhood.
People also don't understand that they are the fucking image of God either. Like
that's one thing I was gonna say this earlier I forgot about it. When you say image of God, it's like I want to remember, like I do care about legacy in terms of like when I leave this incarnation, I want to remember it in the best. So like I want to write the coolest movie so I can remember, I don't want to just do nothing. I want to create loads of art so that when I reminisce about when I was in this incarnation, I can go, at least I actually like made it cool.
Yeah. And then you gotta live from the soul if you want the soul to remember it magically, because the soul is the awareness. The image of God, it doesn't change. Technically, there's only one soul, and it says so in many teachings of Hindus. There's only one soul.
Yeah, I've felt that. I've been there. I am there. There's only a thought in between that. My phone is like on the verge of dying, by the way. Like it's on like 3%.
And I had Ola call me earlier, so I also gotta go talk.
What did you have earlier?
Ola called me. Like,
oh right.
She's in Spain. Like,
yeah, you're in Sweden now, are you? Are you with your family?
I'm in my cabin, or like not my cabin, but one of my.
Yeah. Yeah, fair play. Yeah, my phone's literally on 2%, but yeah, it's a good chat, man. I always appreciate it. I can't wait to fucking. I need to meet you, man. It will be sick. I know it will be. I'll just get off my ass. But yeah, I'm.
Nature is legal and the sun in the mountains or something. Come to Spain after the summer.
I can't wait, man. I feel like we'll be such a good team. Like, we'll see.
And we gotta make some lives while I'm in Sweden too. Like lives are popping. Like there's in some fucking short flow. Like we can do a live together.
Yeah, 100%.
Getting like
man.
views every live, like 3,000-4,000 of views while live.
Yeah, I saw you fucking blew up on one recently.
And every live does it. Like.
Yeah.
I gained 240 subscribers in like 3 lives.
That's sick, man. Oh, fuck. Well, my phone died, people. There was a talk with me and Mr. Nature. Hope you enjoyed. I gotta go now. Ultimate love.